patreon.com/slownewsday. And that I mean, we're on YouTube. I am on Twitter at Slow News Day Show. And tomorrow, we're going to be diving thoroughly into this story about the military's undercover army. Our good friend Franco will be joining us Sunday. We debut here on Aftermath FM
Badass. I can't wait.
at noon, and we will be joined by our good friend, um, award-winning investigative journalist and all-around genius Whitney Webb.
All right.
She will be on the program.
Kick ass. Well, hey, let your guy know that the YouTube thing is happening now. So there was some sort of thing going on there. I'm not sure what happened. But great. So Whitney Webb's coming on. Do you guys know what you're going to be talking about ahead of time, or can you maybe give us a little hint what you might be doing, or do you guys, or do you know?
Well, I mean, I'm absolutely certain that we're going to talk a little Epstein. I know for a fact that we'll be exploring how the recent upticks in these ransomware hacks are going to be used as a way to target and regulate and chase away the more decentralized cryptocurrencies. There is a lot of, I guess, consternation over the future of global supply chains and local supply chains. So we'll be discussing that. It is always a brain breaker with Whitney Webb.
It always is, and interesting as well. I know, I spend a lot of time trying to avoid the news. Simply because, I mean, at this point, the barrage, it used to be one major thing a week, then it turned into one or two, then it was three, then there's a major thing every day, and now there's like 4 or 5 things going on every single day. Now, I got a major problem with any kind of a military that's operating on our soil. So the Pentagon having an underground military operation going on American soil makes me wonder, because there's there's specific reasons why certain things can happen and can't happen, and I don't see a reason why we would be operating, while they would have a secret army as big as the clandestine organizations that we've known about. There's just as many people. I think, what is it you say, 60,000 people? Is that what you said,
in
Steve?
the clandestine services?
Yeah, it's 60,000 people, I'm pretty sure, is what I read earlier today.
I think that would be a conservative estimate, but yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, I mean, with assets, it's got to be a couple 100,000 more.
All right, well, so let's just say that, think of the power that there is with 10,000 people on the internet working in shifts as people, going into chat rooms, going into situations, websites, social media, making comments. These people have full-time jobs. They do it 3 shifts a day. I go into some chat rooms around the web, and obviously there's bots and obviously there's operators. But I mean, you go around and you see some people that are on some chat rooms, they're there 24 hours a day. Is that same person 24 hours a day, or is it just people just sit, get in the chair and move? That guy does his 8, somebody comes down, sits in a chair, boom, he does his 8, and they go around and they make comments and they stir the pot, drop cheese for fools to take back to the nest and feed to their people, some stuff. Get us to do the basic legwork to promote it, whatever the fuck it is that they're trying to push out. They get the alternative media doing the legwork on it by putting these operators out there, dropping these news stories and putting this stuff out there. And then they get us to carry the ball for them. Once we get the ball down the road enough, then they can get a little bit of a buzz generated. Then they can take that and turn it back around against itself and feed it back into the filter bubble and take everybody's mind and completely spin them back around to where they want them to be. So I mean, the thing is, what I mean, we got Cyber Polygon that's supposedly running right now. That tabletop exercise getting ready to run. We've got
Yep.
we got the pipeline, Steve, that we were talked about last week. Clyde Lewis just did a whole piece on what was going on with the dark. What were those guys called? Dark side. On the
Dark side.
Yeah, the dark side. So yeah. So I mean, at this point, we're standing on the precipice of what we're going to fall into as far as the future. So we have Klaus Schwab sitting there telling us all about the Great Reset. We have this drum beat that's going on, moving us into this area where they think, or they're trying to propagate. Most people have been vaccinated, so some haven't. So they want everybody to be vaccinated. They want everybody to prove they've been vaccinated. Whereas there are definite problems with this injection, this injectable. People are having adverse reactions all around the world. The numbers aren't being reported honestly. And at this point, when we're sticking out our arm, we may, I mean, when I went and I had to go when I had cancer. I had to take chemotherapy 16 times. I had to go back 16 weeks. I had to stick my arm out for a lethal injection 16 times consciously. I had to go down there because that's what they do, is they kill you within an inch of your life. But you make a decision because your life is on the line. So, you make that decision. But now our lives aren't necessarily on the line right now with what's going on with this virus. I mean, I think it's got it's like a 97.9% recovery rate, and the vaccine is a 94 point something or something. And then they haven't even done anything to even know really what the numbers are as far as how much it even works. And
Well, we showed that. We showed that study out of the University of Pennsylvania that came out where they tested, or they tried to. They looked at what the real efficacy of the mRNA. What is it? What's the YouTube code word?
oh, that's okay. Yeah, go ahead. It was Michelle Pfeiffer.
Michelle Pfeiffer. That's right. That's right. One of those. And conclusively, they determined that there was not any conclusive evidence because no real way to test the long-term effects of something that you rushed, got emergency approval for, and have only really rolled out for a handful of months. So, yeah, I mean, you're absolutely. But we showed the study, and then YouTube removed the video for medical misinformation.
Yeah. Well,
We didn't show a video of someone who looks like me but maybe crazier, talking about it without showing any evidence or claiming anything. We just showed the study, we quoted it, we discussed that there was not enough information, and we moved on. Granted, I was on with my friend Ryan Christian, the Last American Vagabond, who is like Google's most wanted,
yeah.
basically. But fuck them.
Well, I mean, I saw a thing today that, and I mean, I can try to go pull up the article, or you can pull it up, Brandy, maybe. It was in the Daily Mail, and there's 12 disinformationists of the anti-vaccination movement, I think is the title of the article. 12 disinformation. I think it's 12 different disinformationists. But anyway, you can look those up. But I mean, all these people that have run around on the alternative media talking about this have been labeled as disinformation artists. And the thing is the public doesn't really have any way of knowing one expert from another at this point. Right, because everybody in a white coat, as soon as somebody in a white coat starts talking, everybody starts listening for some reason. I mean, you know what I mean, Steve? So,
It's true.
so the thing is there is some middle ground here. Okay, so it's not 100% bad, and it's not 100% good. There's somewhere in the middle ground that this I still can't find a reason for anybody wanting to do this, except for it's being beaten 24 hours a day in heavy rotation on every single channel, no matter what you do, no matter what it is. Whoever it is will at least say, hey, and don't forget, get vaccinated. Go see Michelle Pfeiffer. You know what I mean? It doesn't matter. They're selling tires, they're selling gasoline, they're selling paint. Every single person on TV at one point, it seems like they're saying, and don't forget, hey, come on down. We'll give you a free gallon of paint if you show us your vaccination card. Hey, man, come on down. We're going to give you extra 50 extra bucks and your paycheck this week, Steve. We're going to give you 50 extra bucks. We will tax it by 33 and a third, but we will give you an extra 50 bucks if you show us you've been vaccinated. And tell you what, you can come down and get it for free. You can have it for free.
Oh man, it gets deeper than that though. They've been giving away Krispy Kremes. They've been giving away free beer. I saw a video of National Guard officers in uniform going like bar to bar buying shots for the shot because this is about your health. Right? Of course it's about your health. That's why you get donuts. That's why you get burgers. That's why you get tacos. That's why you get whiskey.
You know, if it's about your health, why are they not paying attention to the fact then that it is definitely not recommended to give this to people who've already had the virus? In fact, it's very dangerous, and that's not factored in at all.
Well,
So that's a bunch of baloney. I did find, I think, what you're looking for, Jimmy. So
all
if
right.
you
Well,
like, whenever you're ready, I can go
yeah.
over that.
Well, I just want to say, man, it's one in the arm or one in the head. It's up to you, And the thing is, we're going to talk about Israel a little bit before we get into that article, Brandy, because there's a new lexicon of language you were telling me about before, Steve, before the show. You were saying that there's a new politically correct way to speak, so this way, you don't get in trouble. And you wanna help out the listeners out and let them know what's up with that.
Yeah. So my buddy Gordon Dimmick, over in the UK, who apparently his country is 100%, responsible for this, like, or 99% responsible for this because Britain, put out this handy translation guide because sometimes it gets a little lost in the sauce. So to avoid being anti-Semitic, these are handy translations for everyone who's listening. Instead, the English word is school, but in Hebrew that's pronounced Hamas base. In English, the word is hospital. In Hebrew, that's pronounced Hamas base. There's also this is weird, Jimmy. The word for library,
Uh-huh.
in Hebrew, Hamas base.
I see. Well,
Yeah.
yeah. I mean, it seems to be there. It seems like if you were looking for the clues to Armageddon, or if you want to look at Nostradamus, I think we see we see these points, these flash points, these ignition points, being inflamed again. And it's funny because like it was when Trump was in office, there was literally nothing going on with Israel whatsoever. When Obama was in office, there seemed to be this leaning more towards away from Israel and towards Iran. I literally heard somebody say today that Iran needs to change their name back to Persia because Iran means Aryan, and Aryan is the same as Hitler. And he was trying to say that he was trying to make the connection that because Hitler had something to do with what was considered Aryan, that everything Aryan is Hitlerian, and that's such bullshit, right? So being the Aryan race has nothing to do with Nazis and Israel and Jews. Aryans have to do with a race that was around here and living on the planet, And as a matter of fact, some of the things that we just take for granted came directly out of Persia from the Aryans. So I'm not really sure why the person was making that connection, other than to make them the hated enemy of Israel, because they were equated and aligned with Hitler, because Iran means Aryan and they should change their name to Persia. Steve, what do you think about that?
Well, I think they should change their name to Persia because Persians are fun. Persians are an absolute delight to be around. They know how to party, fantastic dancers, can normally hold their liquor, and not theocratic fundamentalists. So on the basis of that alone, I think I should agree whether or not the connection with Hitler or the Aryan race exists. I mean, we could talk about that till the cows come home, really. But I think on the sole basis of Persians hella more fun, we
Do you
should
think?
encourage that.
Let me ask you a question, man. Do you think it's very how I want to ask you, because I think it's really interesting how our perception of other countries is displayed in America. We really don't know much. So when you think about, say, for example, you think about Iraq or you think about Iran, these places, you think of this sepia tone, dusty shithole, and people are living in squalor and all this shit. But it's exactly the opposite. There's a cosmopolitan society going on in Iran, just like America. They have malls and high rises, and everybody's dressed fine. And I mean, the thing is, it's the same with Mexico.
Oh yeah.
This perception that people that want to immigrate here are filthy, dirty peasants living in the dirt, dealing drugs and human trafficking and all this shit. When I mean, Mexico City, again, another cosmopolitan city, just like we have in America. But
And
because
look, like any other city with 18 million people, one of the most populous cities on the planet, maybe more than that by now, there are going to be some rough neighborhoods. There's going to be poverty. It's like the largest center of concentrated wealth in Central America. Of course, it's going to be surrounded by poverty. Of course, it is. But you're absolutely right, Jimmy. Like, there's, uh, uh, I mean, an elite or predator class that exists there. There's a subset service economy that exists around that, where
yeah,
people are very well dressed, where people have money to throw around.
that's
I
right.
have a good friend who is she has her own art restoration business in Mexico City.
Uh huh.
And can do that. Can get by.
I know. And when I was living up in Colorado, I was living close to Aspen in a vacation town called Glenwood Springs, and there's hot springs there. And
Know it well.
there's lots of people that come up from Mexico on vacation. They fly to America for vacation and spend their money here in our hotels and having a good time. Listen, and the people that I'm talking about, they don't have tattoos on their necks, and they're not smuggling dope. The thing
No,
is
those are the baristas.
listen, listen. The thing is, do you think the way that countries are portrayed to us in America, how they're backwards, small, shitty, little shithole, third world shitholes that don't matter? Do you think it makes it easier for Americans to decide to go ahead and bomb those countries, because there's really nothing there? It's just dirt and nothing, right? So it doesn't really matter. They're not even human almost. Is they make other people in other countries seem less than human. They seem like they're living in corrugated steel shacks and cardboard, squalling in the dirt, and it's literally ridiculous. I mean, is that how they make it easy for us to go and kill, kill, kill? Nah,
I mean,
Steve.
that's part of it. Another part of it is the mythology and the propaganda that America is a force for good in the world, and that the only time we ever go to war or drop a missile is if we're defending the poor people of fill in the blank, or if we're trying to bring democracy too, because there's a bad guy there, a tyrant there, he's got bad weapons, or he gassed his people, or whatever. And then the other thing is, we have an all volunteer military. The 99.99% of Americans have zero skin in the game when it comes to that. So it gives everyone the opportunity to fetishize the troops without ever having to sacrifice anything. It gives nearly everybody the opportunity to, when encountered with a veteran who has become anti-war as a result of the horrific experiences that he went through and the multiple forms of trauma that he endured, to say, well, you signed up for it, so you don't get a complaint, and they can forget. They can, as long as they effusively thank you for your service.
Yeah, I mean,
without ever stopping to think what that means.
Yeah, exactly.
Maybe throwing a 10 spot towards your bill at Applebee's. And that's it. That's the total cost of war for the vast majority of people.
Yeah, and I mean they used to call it shell shock, and back then when you had it, there wasn't anything to do about it. And now every single person that comes back from a situation, ladies and gentlemen, that listen, what it takes when you're in a group of people together, you're thrown in a life-threatening situation amongst people that are your enemy. I mean, I'm just saying, if you're out there in the dark and something's moving, man, you're shooting. And you're killing. Look, man, I'm coming back alive, man. It's a fucking clear-cut case of you and me, and it ain't gonna be me. Okay? And that's how it is with you're over there with your bros. Okay? You go over there, you're over there, you do what you gotta do, because you come back. You want to come back to your wife, you want to come back to your situation. You do what you gotta do, and then you gotta come back. And you gotta walk the streets. You gotta look your fellow humans in the eye. They talk some shit to you, and you're thinking to yourself in your back of your mind, I'll snap your neck and I'll kill you right now and boot stomp you to the ground and not even think twice about it, boy. And you have no idea who you're talking to right now when you're talking shit to me. And I'll go off right now and kill you just quick as I'll spit on the ground. And that's what comes back from these situations, ladies and gentlemen. And then, so to deal with that as a person, and have to deal with that is a rough situation, and that's what our veterans have to deal with. But like you said, yeah, they signed up for it. They did sign up for it. But they come back and, hey, thanks for your service, bro. Thanks for your service.
Yeah, get a little discount on your lunch. And, the sad thing about this is that the other side knows this, and that's one of the reasons they use children, as a guard and a block for them, because that can cause that brave soldier who's so determined to get back home to pause for that split second. And that's where I've really heard the horror stories of these people coming back from war with that on their mind. I mean, I can't even imagine the feelings and the guilt and the second guessing yourself that they must go through.
Well, and here's the thing, and my friend Danny Sherson, who's a retired Army major, he did 2 tours in Afghanistan, one in Iraq, cavalry sergeant, captain, taught history at West Point. When he talks about that, he says, are they supposed to use anything other than guerrilla tactics against an invading army when they're quite literally trapped in their own town under siege? It's not like they can go take the fucking planes out on maneuvers. It's not like they have time to drill. It's there's of course they're terrorist tactics. They're terrorists. But you can never wrap that in your mind when you're, 17, 18, 19 years old and you've got nothing but fucking testosterone propaganda, like a flag on your sleeve, God in your heart, and Toby Keith or fucking rap rock in your freaking ears telling you to go kill. You're not gonna think about any of that shit. Nobody's telling you about any of that.
Kill, kill, kill. It's like you write it on the side of your helmet. Kill, kill,
And we was
kill.
both jumping up and down, yelling, "Kill, kill!"
Yeah.
Arlo.
Well, I'm gonna pull up some information because you can join up and you can become an information specialist in the army, and it's
Mm-hmm.
probably some of these same people that we're talking about earlier. That you were talking about in this force, but I'd like to bring continue on a little bit here with this idea of the veteran and the coming back to America and the weaponizing of these veterans through right wing propaganda and inflammation of distrust and hatred for the government. So, what you do is you have these people that have come back from war that get somehow involved in listening to the alternative media. They go over and they get turned on to Alex Jones, and he resonates with them, and they start to get into the music. They start to do the dance, and then they realize that maybe they went over there and they wasted their time over there. They were doing it for a wrong reason, and now they're completely and totally against the government. And this is exactly why you see that these veterans are one of the biggest fears of the government, is that these veterans that have been trained by our military, which is one of the strongest militaries in the world, if not one of the most powerful. They know how to use the weapons. They know how to avert the tactics. There's a million reasons why these veterans are not venerated when they come back. They let them rot. They let them sit there and go through psychological problems. Look at the suicide rate of veterans returning from their tours. Look at the suicide rate of these young veterans. Why are they committing suicide at a record number? Why are our young people committing suicide at a record number? Because right now people think there is no future. They think that they look at the landscape, Steve, and they don't have a place to sit. They don't think in the future there's going to be anything for them. You come back from Iraq, I mean, what are you going to do? Go get a job as a cop, right? You get
Yeah.
down because you've been doing police action over in another country, so you come back, you get a job as a cop. So now you got a bunch of cops that used to be vets that may or may not have some issues, man. Some trauma-based mind control kind of. You have to, in order for you to function, don't you think it's the same as what we talk about on these trauma-based mind control situations where when someone's been traumatized, what they do is create a separate personality for themselves, and they go into that personality when they're in the situation that causes them harm. And when they come out, they're a completely different person on the other side, almost like a Gemini, you know, girlfriend.
Astrology is metaphysical racism, but I understand what you're saying
That's
there.
good. I like that.
I no, and there is a lot to that. Um, there's also like when ex-military become cops, like the rules of engagement change entirely, and so for the first like couple years there's an adjustment period, or there's somebody that's just jumping right into, we don't have any rules of engagement anymore. It's a fucking free for all.
That's true.
Wow. And it goes one of two ways, but the one thing that happens is that you adapt to your environment. And so after a certain amount of time, even if your original training was to have you behave a certain way according to rules of engagement, when you're in that environment long enough without any, you're going to adjust to that. And that's horrific.
It is horrific. Mine's Jimmy. It's into the Microcosms Aftermath.fm. It's a slow news day tonight, and we are grinding axes with Steve from Slow News Day on Rockfin. You can find him over there. Brandy Lou's here. The What the Fuck Parrot got out. I might have left the cage unlocked last night. I don't know, man. It's flying around here, but I'm just saying, if you guys see that parrot, just watch out, man, because that thing gets pissed, and it's pissed right now by what it's hearing, because it doesn't like it at all. Oh man, watch out, Brandy.
Oh man, it just threw a bunch of seeds at my head. Oh.
Aftermath FM. That's the Blue Stones. Be My Fire. They kick ass, man. They got another song called Black Holes and Solid Ground. I would check it out if I were you. I'm Jimmy. I'm Steve. We're grinding axes, and we're talking about the veterans, you know. And the thing is, you know, a lot of these veteran programs and stuff that exist, you're talking about, you know, one of the things is that, you know, they're going to help you find a position when you come back, you know, and some of the things that you've done over there can translate into some of the skills that are needed by a lot of the organizations that we see. One of the type of organizations, Steve, that's out there are these sort of contractor, sort of mercenary organizations, kind of like Blackwater Q type thing.
Oh yeah.
So I mean, a lot of our boys end up in these positions where they're making a shitload of money. Some cases, maybe even double and triple what they were making as soldiers working for the U.S. Army. So what about this, Steve? Now, do you agree with these Blackwater operations? Because I'm 100% sure this whole defund the police thing was the beginning phases of what's going to be police forces in the future. Will not be cops that are hired. They will be corporations that are hired that do police work. And they'll be under a liability caption, and they'll have to answer up if anybody gets killed. So I think there'll be a lot more careful about who's getting shot and use more non-lethal methods, shocking or, you know, black bagging, this type of thing. But I think, you know, in the future it'll just be a function of a corporate Blackwater type operation, along with the corporate prisons for you know, the perpetrators, violators. Go ahead, Steve. I can see you twisted in your chair. I mean, don't you think this is what's going to happen, though? I mean, naturally, because cops are starting to say, forget this. I don't want to do this. If I got to do these measures, corporations are not going to have a problem following your rules. So, I mean, isn't this the most natural progression, the next phase in policing?
Yeah, oh, there's a gnarly echo. Oh, it went away. Okay, cool. Before it's fully automated, 100%. I mean, they tried rolling out the robot police dog in New York. They had to back off of it a little bit, but that's coming. It is. The privatization of the military, having well-paid mercs handle the majority of that transition started in 2005, really 2003 to 2007, so average. It again, it's taking more and more skin out of the game in terms of military operations, having it be just special forces or trainers. And then these merc squads, absolutely, yeah. We'll see more of that in terms of policing, but what we'll also see is situations where they're trying to have like social workers be cops. And that's ridiculous.
Well, I mean, the thing is, I don't think it's so ridiculous. Actually, I don't, because because listen, if there's technology out here and we're gonna lean into it, then let's lean into it, man. Okay, look, they're giving you tickets. They say it's unconstitutional to give you a speeding ticket at the stoplight because they took a picture of you. But if you would just give that up, if you would just let them use cameras the proper way and utilize it, you wouldn't have cops pulling people over for speeding tickets and getting in situations where they pull a guy over, and somebody says the wrong thing. Next thing you know, you're laying dead on the side of the road. This way, you're speeding, boom, they got you facial recognition, they got your license plate, they got your speed, they got your GPS. There's no way out. You're guilty. The end. Pay up.
They already have that.
Right.
Now.
Right. So why are we having why are cops being put in a situation where they're judge, jury, and executioner, pulling people over, putting themselves in life-threatening situations by pulling over unknown individuals and vehicles? Why don't we just forget about it and just lean into it, get rid of the cops on the streets, look, how hard would it be to make a robot riding a motorcycle, like, say, a rice rocket type bike, like some big, Kawasaki 1000 or whatever, and put a robot on top of it?
Where do you get the slave labor from?
They can fight this in court. That's why, because there's cities around the nation that have done this. And what happened is people were getting pictures taken when their car was parked and crazy stuff like that. And what the defense was, I was not able to face my accuser. I'm not saying if I agree or disagree, but cities that had that technology with those, cameras and all that, many of them have pulled out of it because of that reason.
Well, why don't they just have the AI show up in court and say, I am the AI.
Well,
I have determined that you are guilty. You are guilty.
That will happen.
Yes.
It will. Every inch you travel will be logged on the blockchain. 100%.
That's right.
But that's not.
That's what I'm saying. Look, if we know what the inevitability is of the information system, the social credit score, we know the facial recognition's coming, we know the robots are coming, we know this is happening. I mean, yeah, you're fighting the ticket using this reason that you can get out of it. But ultimately, it's bullshit because you're facially recognized. You're there. You're GPSed. It's you. You sped. You can fight it.
No, not always.
You can fight
not
it.
Always, though.
You can fight it because it's unconstitutional. But look at the facial recognition they have in China. It's 99.9% effective. But guess what? You know what? The one thing people don't even know. Guess what? People of color and black people, facial recognition, they don't have it down on black people yet. So they're not. It's not 100% on black people. So black people, if you go to jail on some facial recognition shit, challenge it, because right now the technology is there's a flaw somewhere, and it happens over in like I said, China has the best facial recognition cameras in the world, and they have a major problem with people of color, mainly black people. So black people, if somebody pulls you over, they use facial recognition on you, boom, make sure you definitely throw that out. Try to get thrown out. Anyhow, my name's Jimmy. It's in the microcosm. We're talking about police work in America, the future of American police work, maybe possibly even Blackwater style operations. That you don't need the guns to come out. Steve, you were talking about social workers. You don't need the guns to come out until it's time for extraction of these individuals out of their individual cells that they live in. They call them apartments or condos or houses, but really they're cells. And really, we're on the plantation. We are in the prison. It's an open air prison. But
and that is why that's why we need the cops, because we still have to incarcerate 25% of the world's prisoners, even though we're 5% of the world's population. There's so much money in it. Again, slave labor.
Yes. That's 100%.
Constant source of revenue for the state.
Yeah.
I mean, it is in the state's best interest to have a healthy prison population
Well, you know why it's in the state's best interest to have a healthy population?
because slavery gets shit done.
No,
Jimmy
because
Jean.
private prisons are in America, and guess what private prisons do? They come to your place and they go, "Hey, listen, tell you what, Steve, I can see that you have all these criminals running willy nilly all over your state. You know what I'm gonna do? I'm gonna come over there, Steve. I'm gonna build a couple prisons for you. And it's not gonna. No, don't worry, Steve. Relax, Steve. It's not gonna cost you a cent. I'm gonna pay for this whole prison. I'm gonna put it in, and I'm gonna get it up and running, and I'm gonna staff it. I'm gonna buy the land. I'm gonna build it, and I'm gonna build you the best prison you've ever seen, Steve. Okay, it's not gonna cost you a cent, but here's what I'm gonna need you to do for me, Steve, because see, I need to keep those beds full. So what I need you to do is I need you to keep Jeff Sessions, okay? I need you to keep him against the legalization of cannabis, because half of the people that we have in our for-profit prisons are dope smoking, weed smoking hippies, and they're really good at doing meticulous assembly work. So we like to get them in there for about 5 years at 10 cents an hour. This way we could crack out a bunch of products over on Whack and Hut. You can buy our products. So what do you think, Steve? That means you're going to have to, I need your police force to really be aggressive and throw some people in prison. I need you to keep these beds full for me, Steve, because that's what profit prisons are all about.
100%, but you could close all of the for-profit prisons in the United States and you would still have 94% of all prisons in the United States remaining. Like, for-profit prisons really don't account for that much or that many, certainly too many, because what the fuck, for-profit prison? But you know, I mean,
Where's the bird? Where's the bird?
Hey man, listen, it's out of control. It's the bird is even going, what the fuck? Listen, no, it's seriously, it's out of control. Listen, for-profit prisons, we should be doing everything we could to rehabilitate people to keep them out of prison. You know, there's lots of, you know, for some reason there seems to be quite a bit of stuff that needs to be done. You know what I'm saying? Around the country. You could have work camps, couldn't you? Oh, work camps. Oh, man.
Jeff Sessions tried to bring those back, and debtor's prison.
Yeah, debtor's prison. And wasn't it Biden that got rid of the ability to file bankruptcy for the credit card companies?
Yeah.
And don't you think it's funny?
Although just recently, what is it? Eviction doesn't threaten your credit score.
Well, here's the thing. He's trying, believe it or not, Mr. Friendly to the credit card companies and keeping people from filing bankruptcy, keeping people from getting out of their student loans, all this. Well, guess what? Now he's 100% for getting rid of the credit score. That's right. No credit score.
So that it can be, replaced with the social credit score.
Yep, look out for a trick.
That's right. That's right. It's a bait and switch, man. And the thing is, it'll be so much worse. Your credit score is a secret. In other words, you're dating somebody, you got bad credit, they don't have to know about it. Okay? In the future, you're dating somebody, you got bad credit, it'll be loud. It'll be up there like a billboard, man. It'll be like, yeah, you got bad credit. Everything you ever did is going to be out there in public.
Can I tell you something?
Yes.
Jimmy, if you have bad credit, the person you're dating is going to find out like relatively quickly anyway.
Especially when
pretty much right off the bat. Unless you're like on vacation, trying to go broke, Airbnb, you got, just full bar going. There's like a nonstop party, something like that. You could pull that off for a few days, maybe even a couple of weeks.
Well,
your bad credit is going to catch up with you relatively quickly.
The moment that you get married and you go out and try to find that dream house, that single family home, that dwelling, that's not existent that you can't
That
afford.
apartment,
Yeah,
anything,
anything.
a car,
Oh, no, no, no. You have to do a
rental car.
background check on these people before you go out with them a second time. Maybe even the first
Yeah.
time, I'd say.
Well, they do that now because there's like a narcissist, test where every man is a narcissist now, and you got to pass the narcissist test. And I mean,
What?
if you treat somebody nice, it's called a love bomb. You're a love bombing narcissist because you bought your girlfriend some flowers and some chocolate or whatever. Throw up your rock
Up your
fist.
rock fist if you're feeling it when I drop this. Show 'em how we blow the spot. Let's make it hot. The shotgun with the body rock till the party stops. It's time to take it up a notch and keep it locked for all the headbangers in the parking lot. Here we come. If you're ready or not, no time to talk 'cause we on the clock. Bringing it to your block. Let me show you where we coming from. It don't stop from LA to New York. Show me what you got now. All I know is what it did take to make this. All I am is what it will take to break this. All I know is what it did take to make this. All I am is what it will take to break. Light it up now. Light it up now. Throw up your rock fist if you're feeling it when I drop this. That's the sound when the rock hits. Oh, never know I might let go. Get ready, get set, throw up your rock fist if you're feeling it when I drop this. That's the sound when the rock hits. Oh, never know I might let go. Stop running me down, keep running
Let me
around.
tell you something, man. That is a solid snare sound on that song. 1,000-foot crutch. Rock fist. Throw up your rock fist, ladies and gentlemen. Steve Poikonen in the house. Slow News Day. Steve, tell them where they can find you, man.
slownewsdayshow.com. You can also find us on rockfin.com/slownewsday. We are also on YouTube and D Live and Slow News Day Show on the tweeters.
Throw up your rock fin. I think you should get 1,000-foot crutch over there to do a commercial for Rockfin, and they could change the name of that song to Rockfin instead. I think it'd be badass.
Yeah.
Mine's Jimmy. I'm gonna call up 1,000-foot crutch and send him over to see Steve later. So was that a friend of yours earlier? We played some comedy at the beginning of the show, and I like to use comedians that are friends of people on the show. Steve, was that a friend of yours?
No, it's a friend of a friend. My buddy Sam Tripoli turned me on to this guy.
Yeah.
I mean, he's been around for a minute, but I hadn't really checked his stuff out. And Sam was like, "No, you need to." His name's Andrew Schultz. Very, very weird and very funny guy. To me, at any rate, I really enjoy the guy's comedy.
Well, let me tell you something, man. I asked you to tell me where people can find you, and the one thing you didn't say is where they can find you right here on Aftermath.fm. Because
Oh
everybody,
my goodness, you're right. I'm still getting used to that.
I know.
Still good because it hadn't even officially happened yet. It's Sunday, but yes, this Sunday, Slow News Day will be live for the first time on Aftermath, and that will be 10 a.m. on the West Coast, 1 p.m. on the East Coast. We will be joined by our very good friend, the award-winning and brain-breaking Whitney Webb.
yeah,
Will be fantastic.
it will be fantastic, and you're a fantastic investigator, man. You bring a lot of things up. Plus, you're also active with Julian Assange, and I mean, there's so many things that you're into, and I'm so glad that you're here and you become part of the team over at Aftermath because, there's something special going on over here, man. It's a special moment. It's a moment to be involved in something just coming off the ground. Everybody's got really positive energy and good vibes going forward. I mean, we got to get through this shit, and I've done shows on people that work for these big social media companies in the background that take off really harsh shit off of their that stuff that people just shouldn't see, murders and all this other stuff. But the bottom line is the stuff that they censor off of there, those people that do the censoring, they literally have to quit work after a certain period of time, and they go off into post-traumatic stress disorder as a result of being involved with this information on a regular basis, on an 8-hour-a-day basis. And us and in the alternative media, we're dealing with this information on a 24-hour basis. And so, to be able to be standing after doing that for a bit of time like you are, and, to be active and not only just bringing information out, but actually being active with doing work with trying to help out Julian. Now, do you have anything going on with Julian Assange coming up? Any vigils happening? Did you get the thing squared away, which you decide which city you guys were going to do your thing in? Or what's going on with that, man?
We will likely be going to Denver towards the end of June. We're definitely going to be doing something in Los Angeles on July 3rd and 4th. Probably going to working on finding rooms and dates for a mini tour that will focus more on like press freedom in general, and targeted whistleblowers and journalists in the U.S., but also the overarching Assange case, which sets too many horrible precedents. God, there's a couple of other dates.
Well, let me ask you this, man. Were you supportive of what Trump was up to in the office?
No, I mean,
I'm just saying.
I'm anti-authoritarian.
Well,
across the board.
The reason I was asking you is because like a lot of people were infatuated with Trump when he was in office, and so I mean, I never was. I mean, there was a moment when he was getting elected, but after that moment, and after he started to reveal himself more and more, but the point is that there was a big expectation that he would pardon Julian Assange. That I mean that he used what Julian Assange brought to the table to get himself elected in these slogans that he would shout out to the screaming people, and these one-liners, lock her up and all this, man. Where's the servers and all this? Where's the phone? You bashed your phone with a hammer or whatever. You know what I'm saying? So he it's just like in California, man. Cannabis is legal, but you still got to piss for a job. You know what I'm saying? Trump, there he is. He uses Assange's information, but leaves him to rot in prison.
Well, here's the thing. I mean, Donald Trump, carnival barker, reality TV game show host. What the hell did anybody think they were going to get? This is a guy who notoriously doesn't pay his contractors. This is a guy who is, famous for, like, putting on a great show, but not actually delivering anything himself. That's what he's famous for. He's in the WWE Hall of Fame, the World Wrestling Hall of Fame. Wrestling. So if you're honestly looking at Donald Trump as someone who was going to be an arbiter of change inside the U.S. government, please sponsor our show. Okay? Because you have disposable income. You must. Please endorse the show. For him to stand there and to scream on stage for weeks and weeks and weeks, we love the WikiLeaks. I love the WikiLeaks. Show us the WikiLeaks. Can we see the WikiLeaks? We need more WikiLeaks. Give us the WikiLeaks. And then to turn around while he's doing that, working with a guy named Rich Grinnell to back channel to make sure that the current Ecuadorian administration under, at the time it was Rafael Correa, was being undermined, that a puppet named Lenny Moreno would be brought in, and that the security company that was watching over the embassy, a company called UC Global, would get turned or offered an additional job and increase the level of spying on Julian Assange. There were plots against his life. This is all now out in the open in a Spanish court. The co-founder of UC Global, was arrested trying to flee the country about a month and a half ago now, maybe 2 months ago. This is a guy who could testify in open court that he was hired by the CIA through, essentially through Sheldon Adelson, one of Donald Trump's largest donors.
Mm-hmm.
His head of security was a former CIA agent. They back-channeled. They met at the Sands in Vegas, Adelson's casino. And this is where all of it took place.
What casino? What casino does Adelson own? Do you know?
The Sands.
Okay.
He owns like 7, but specifically this was the Sands.
He didn't own Mandalay Bay though, right?
I don't know. Let's find out.
Mandalay. Well, the Mandalay is a group at the Bohemian Grove. Did you know that? Did you know that Las Vegas is under the eye of something called Nice Systems, which tracks every keystroke the moment?
Oh, Blackstone. Yeah. Okay.
Did you know that it tracks every keystroke from the moment you call 911? So did you know that every single keystroke, camera, gallon of gas, paper, tire, anything that rolled that night was totally filmed and taken? There's no bit of evidence that happened when that massacre happened in Vegas that wasn't there. The evidence is all there for what happened. And the other thing was, when Trump came out immediately after that happened in Vegas, he was wearing a purple tie. And I noticed it because Hillary and Bill, when they gave their concession speech, were wearing purple. She was wearing purple. Bill was wearing a purple tie. Donald Trump, up until that point, hadn't been wearing purple. And I think the Las Vegas thing was the beginning of the Weinstein operation, where the Me Too movement started. But when Trump showed up in Vegas, he was wearing a purple tie. And I think that was the moment where he was where he had been compromised and he went away from the person he was when he was running for president. I think he actually believed what he was saying. I think he actually, at some point, started to believe that people believed in him and he wanted to do the right thing. But, he's compromised from a million ways to Sunday. I mean, obviously, he's connected to the Russian mafia via the loans that he gets for construction work in New York City. His wife's family were communists that sat over.
She got here on an Epstein visa, Jimmy.
Please magnify that for me if you would.
So
Start explaining.
The official story is that she was here on an Einstein visa. Because, as a topless model, she was clearly coming to assist with a biomedical facility in terms of heading the research department. She's connected to one of the talent agencies that oh god damn it, the dude, he's like a Jean-Luc something, I can't remember it, the French fashion designer that's like Epsteined out the ass. He fucking disappeared for a little bit. At any rate, her talent agency is connected to that dude, and that's how she got the initial visas to come over here to do modeling things, was through that.
Well, it's interesting.
It's referred to as an Epstein visa.
Well, and that's interesting because Trump's wife, before that, used to no, not Marla, Ivanka. When she used to ride around with Epstein's girl, and they'd go around New York City and find young girls to be models. Trump's association with these contests, these beauty contests.
Miss Teen America.
Right, yeah, these things are all operations, ladies and gentlemen. These are...
Les Wexner was involved with the Miss Teen pageants. And Les Wexner is who Maria Farmer called the head of the snake.
Well, you know what's even funnier is Trump sat there and said people shouldn't get visas because their families live here. They shouldn't get visas. What does he do? He gets her father in here on the same visa while he's running around telling people that they shouldn't allow the immigration. He's doing the same thing with a murdering communist who buried hundreds of people in his country. Now he's here, and
Donald Trump is 50% anchor baby.
Yeah.
His mom's a Scottish national.
Well, show me a billionaire who's not a communist. You can send me an email at jimmygene27@gmail.com. And the thing about it is, man, there's still people out there saying Trump's going to come in and take power, that he's in control of the military, that Biden's not in control of the military. There's still people out there that actually are saying this, man. And I got to say, it's a little bit out there, man. It's a little bit
People
out
have
there.
got to wake up. There's some stuff coming down the pike that if they keep leaning on that, and I don't care if you think it's going to happen or not, think what you want to think, but you darn well better be ready. You better start paying attention to what's going on and realize we are the only ones who are going to save ourselves when it comes right down to it. Don't you think so, Jimmy?
I do think so, and I think there's a sucker born every minute, right? Isn't that what P.T. Barnum said? There's a sucker born every minute, and it's a circus.
Yes, he did.
It's a circus out there. There was an episode of a show. We brought this out a long time ago. Clyde's brought it out. A few people have trotted this out, but there was an episode of a show called Trackdown. And in this show, there was a character named Trump who wanted to build a wall to protect people from the end of the world. And here's a piece from that right here. Here's Trump from Trackdown. My name's Jimmy. It's in the microcosm. Steve, Brandy. And we are grinding axes tonight. We're going to open up the phones here in a bit. Here is Trump from the series Trackdown. Here we go.
Dear friends, come forward, friends. Step forward. I bring you a message. A message few of you will be able to believe. A message of great importance. A message I alone was able to read in the fires of the universe. But be not afraid, my friends. I also bring you the means with which to save yourselves. Save us from what? From the end of the world, friend. Which I don't expect you to believe. But the rest of you, those who want to be alive tomorrow morning, I will tell you tonight. Remember that. Bring your friends here. I'll tell you tonight so that you will be able to prepare. What are you selling, mister? Snake oil? The world will come to a flaming end at midnight tonight. Without my help and knowledge, every one of you will be dead.
Mine's Jimmy. It's Aftermath FM. The kids aren't all right.
When we were young, the future was so bright. The old neighborhood was so alive.
626-999-4761. 626-999-4761. Call in with your axe to grind with Steve, Brandy, and myself. Mine's Jimmy. It's Aftermath FM. The alternative to the alternative. The underground, the mistress of the underground. Danny will be back tomorrow night. Brandy's here. 626-999-4761. Say what's up to the boys. Epic Journeyman, Rockin' Rio. You found it. It's almost midnight on the West Coast. Six 999-4761. I didn't see your message, Brandy, so I don't know what you said. I can't read those Skype messages from here. So, Steve, I saw that. Was there a problem? You were talking about Adelson and Cohen, and you were talking about some of Donald Trump's CNP lawyers, and it seems like you got disconnected there. What happened?
Yeah, no, just Skype threw me off, or put the call on hold.
That's weird, man.
I have never had that happen before.
Yeah, weird stuff happens when you do Into the Microcosm. I don't know why.
First time for everything.
There is.
Yeah.
I know, and we're not those type of people. I mean, we don't say every time there's an internet, it's not the NSA trying to keep us from getting the word out or whatever. But I don't know, man. There's been some glitchy shit going on, especially with YouTube over the last couple of days. There's been this buffering issue when you go to watch a video, and people have been experiencing it all over the world. So I'm not sure if they're changing the algorithms around on YouTube right now to be more, because I know did you know YouTube's trying to form a union? They're trying to form an employees union, and the employees want they want the people to have interaction directly with folks from YouTube. So if like you're a YouTube creator, that you'll be able to actually be able to get somebody on the phone. Obviously, if you're a union, that means your workers will be sitting there answering phones for people. So it makes good sense for the union because it gets their guys or their gals keeping them hours going, and it makes the company give us the opportunity to be able to talk to a human. And I really like the concept of that. And I saw a couple of years ago there was a dude that they'd started a YouTube creators union.
Oh, yeah, the German guy?
Yeah. And then they got...
Yeah, did you see that video? It's the most awkward video ever where they're sitting, like, right on top of each other. Like, it's kind of adorable, but also kind of creepy.
It is creepy. But, they did get one of the unions over there to sign in.
The oldest union in Europe, as a matter of fact, is the union that endorsed the YouTube Content Creators Union.
Yeah. So, I mean, that thing gained traction. But the problem is that, everybody wants to sit around and bitch about how YouTube doesn't have free speech, but nobody wants to go help get a YouTube union started for creators to where we'd get a whole number of people that would actually be a politically motivated force to institute change across the board on some of these things. People just want to sit in their chairs and cry like fucking little babies. Oh, yeah, I don't got free speech, man.
Let me tell you what happened after that, though. So after that, YouTube began promoting the hell out of all of these mainstream cable news networks. Netflix,
Mm-hmm.
and they started throwing all of like the Comedy Central content on, and they started throwing like all of cable stuff on there,
Mm-hmm.
and a lot more of the more like mainstream podcasts got full length, on there with like full YouTube branding and algorithmic fluffing, as it were.
Right.
And um everybody that had expressed any interest in that content creators union was suppressed to shit, in a lot of ways, or in a lot of cases demonetized entirely, in several cases deplatformed altogether, and can't get back on the platform. And here's the other thing, is that YouTube is the government. And so any union that would come from it would be a government union,
Well,
because you would be performing the exact same tasks as union management in a government union, and that is to screw the workers on behalf of management
right.
for
But
perks.
you're better. Yeah, you're better off with a unionized situation than you are with a non-unionized situation. In any situation you have now that's even partly good, or where you work an 8-hour day and get to go home, that's specifically and directly because of unions.
Yes, I
Unions are the
agree.
whole reason that there's any laws protecting children from working. Unions are the reason, but there's a difference that people don't understand. There's a big fucking difference. Unions are not all the same. They're called unions, but not all unions are the same. Trade unions are different than government employee type unions. There is collective bargaining in government type unions, but it's not the same as it is in, say, the electrical union, the carpenters union, the plumbers union, the unions that were trade workers. You don't. People have this impression if you're in the union, you're just standing around, you're doing nothing and getting paid a bunch of money. Yeah, go stand around on a union job site and see how long you're working, man. You get fired in 30 seconds flat. Show up late 3 times, you're gone. They don't fuck around. And so,
No, because there's literally thousands of people waiting to take that job.
that's right. Just like there is every place else. So the only thing is if you're not in a group, you're fucked. If you're an independent person, you're screwed. Look, you know why all these politically active groups all of a sudden got a voice? Why do these underground lifestyles all of a sudden have a voice? Have a big political voice to the point where they're actually influencing the politics of America because they have a voice. So without that voice, you don't get anything. So without a group, if you're by yourself, you can scream all you want. Scream on YouTube, go scream down at the courthouse, go scream where you want. By yourself, you're nothing. You go down there and scream with 100 other people, all of a sudden, you're starting to make a little bit of noise, man. Get 1,000 people, now you're really making noise. Get 1,000,000 people, now you're influencing politics, man. Because you're all screaming the same thing at the same time all over the place, and it starts to resonate. Because
And that's why it's so important for these people who believe in these magical things that are supposed to happen, get real and start getting involved. Because without the voices of all of us combined, we can't do anything. It's got to be a real group effort, either for the good things or the bad things. Those who are the strongest, those who are the loudest, those who are the most active are going to win. That's just the way it works.
that is the way it works. And the thing is that this is learned helplessness. Because the thing is people used to believe if they called their congressman, it would do something. People used to believe if they wrote a letter, it would do something. And now they've been experiencing this alternative viewpoint where nothing you do matters. It doesn't even matter if you call your congressman, it doesn't matter. But guess what? It does matter. You know why?
It does.
Because listen, for every one person who actually gets off their ass and dials the phone and calls their congressman, there's 10,000 people out there that wish they would or could. And so every single person that calls into a congressman equals 10,000 constituents. Do you realize that? 10,000, every phone call equals 10,000 constituents. So what's 100,000? What's 10? What's
And a
a
letter? A
wh-
letter, really.
what's a phone?
I almost always get a letter back, and it's not a letter asking for money when I write a legislator.
What's 100 phone calls?
Mm.
If a person equals 10,000 people, what's 100 phone calls? That's 100,000 people. What if you could influence 1,000 people to call into their congressman and stop that shit that's going on up in New York right now? They're passing a thing where they're going to throw your ass in a camp if you don't
Right.
have documentation. You want to pull that article up, Brandy, so we can get into it a little bit? Um, yeah, I mean, here's the thing. You know, don't be helpless. Listen, listen. The other thing is too. Look, what if it didn't matter? What if you going out and doing all this shit, Steve, didn't matter? But it matters to you. You know what I mean? It matters to you, and so that thing is making it matter for other people, is getting them to know what's going on with something. And if you can make it matter, then if it matters, then people could get involved. But you know, like I said, most of the time, people want to just sit in their chair and complain and bitch and moan about how shit is. You know, and shit isn't that way. Shit's that way because they want to lay back and not take responsibility for what's going on. Take responsibility for how shit is fucked up, and then let's all get together and fix this thing, man. Let's get together, all of us together, and fix it. The 99 percenters, let's us fix it. Let's not have the 1% tell us how it's going to be. Let's tell the 1% how it's going to be. That's
Well, yeah. I mean, I think in a lot of ways that's what the whole opt-out thing is. You know, and I mean, people are about to find out real quick what it's like to be without. We've got everything crashing. We've got supply chain problems.
Mhm.
We just had a major infrastructure shutdown, forced shutdown, for nefarious reasons. You know, I mean, they had no reason whatsoever to turn that pipeline off. They paid the ransom within hours. They squeezed the entire East Coast.
well,
Um,
it's a rollout. let's see.
but yeah,
Let's
so
see. Let's see how this could affect. Let's see what this affects. Oh, we're sorry. We're sorry. We're the dark side, and we didn't really mean to cause problems for people. So we'll never do it again. It doesn't matter because the display of what can be done now is known. So now we know that if you hack that pipeline, you're shutting down the East Coast. So now every single bad actor in the world knows that to hack the pipeline.
well, the Department of Homeland Security has been like out in print predicting this for over a year now. They've been saying there's going to be a cyber pandemic. There's going to be a 9/11 scale event, but it's going to take place with the power grid, with the infrastructure, and there's going to be supply chain problems. Department of Homeland Security.
Well, let's talk
So
about it.
I mean, this is stuff that Whitney has reported on, that we have talked about extensively, that on Slow News Day. And I mean,
Well, let's
here we are.
let's talk about this. So today I saw a video, and the video was from a dude who works in the farming industry at some company. So this is not a YouTuber. This is not like some dude with a fucking channel or whatever trying to get clicks. This is just some dude. He's on his way home from work, and he just puts his cell phone up and he makes this video. And this is what he said. He said, "I was just talking to somebody at work, and he was informed that the agriculture sector in our country, all the product from these farms is being bought up by the government at 1.5% time. You know, it's one. Yeah. So it's given the value, 100% of the value, and then 50% more, buying these up and having it destroyed.
Mm-hmm.
And if you don't destroy this, you won't get funding next year from the government. So they're literally ordering all of our food to be destroyed. And this kid said in 8 months from now, the food chain is going to be severely disrupted and people are going to be starving to death in America. Now, like I said, this guy didn't have a channel. This is just some random dude like you or me who works at some place and just like made a video on his phone. And so there's a lot of other people that have been saying some things similar. We've had meat packing plants closed down. We've had what's his nuts buying up all this farmland. Bill Gates. We've had meat production demonized. You'll eat crickets and love it, and have nothing and love it, because beef causes problems, for the atmosphere. So we see this. This whole thing is going down the tubes, man. I mean, we're heading down a road. Steve, go ahead.
Oh no, I'm pretty sure I found the video. I'm just dropping it in my chat. The one that you're talking about. The dude, like clean cut looking dude,
Yeah.
real short hair.
Yeah. And he's wearing
Sitting in a truck.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah, that guy. And he's wearing a shirt that may even have the logo of the company that he works in. So one of these people that these Asperger investigators, maybe you could look at his shirt and figure out where he works. The other thing is too, you have this infrastructure with the bridge where it's tied up going over the Mississippi, and they have barges that have food on it, and all these supplies for the farming industry to go up and down the Mississippi River are all jammed up because of that bridge. I think it's Highway 41 where the bridge is torn up. So they have to divert traffic, and they're not letting ships go underneath the bridge, these barges. So food is rotting on the barges. Supplies to the farms is sitting there. They're not getting to the farms. There's no planning going on for next year yet. All this stuff is going to literally lead up to some of these measures that you're hearing about, man. Eating crickets and all this other shit. Eating fake meat. You're going to eat the fake burger. Go ahead, you guys. Did you get that article with the FEMA camp up in New York? Why don't you get into that, Brandy?
Sure. You're gonna love this. So I'm pulling it up, and in the time that you and I, we both got that article about the same time from different sources. So I've been looking at that today, and now tonight I go to try to pull that up, and you know what comes up? It's like 2 pages of how that is not correct. They're already saying that this information that got put out is false.
Well, let me hear the false. I want to hear the false information. Let me decide for myself. False.
So, in the Senate of New York, this was introduced on January 6th of 2021. It's an act to amend the public health law in relation to the removal of cases, contacts, and carriers of communicable diseases who are potentially dangerous to the public health. And it goes on and on who it presented it to and how it works. Removal, identification of cases, contact, and carriers who may be a danger to the public health. They have basically the freedom to develop orders to remove them, and based on a declared state of health emergency, an epidemic, or any communicable disease. So once they determine that they're dangerous, which, how do they do that? They can say, you have this disease because you tested positive, or you are not wearing a mask and you've consistently not been wearing one, or you didn't get the vaccine. That seems to be the big one now. So this is giving them the permission based on this pandemic to remove them and detain them in a medical facility or other appropriate facility or premises designated by, guess who, the governor or his or her delegee, and complying with subdivision 5 of this section. And it basically goes on like that. And the problem with all of this is it's based on the true misinformation and the true lies and the true bad facts that have been put out there. It's a mess. It's very, very scary. This is your things that you had nightmares about in high school, when they're telling you, you're looking at life and going, what's the worst that could happen? So
yeah,
you guys should look it up.
Well, I'll tell you what, why don't you drop that in the chat rooms, both chat rooms, over at aftermath.fm, and at YouTube in Microcosm of Jimmy G and Strike Zone, and the real Jimmy G on Twitter is my Twitter handle. If you guys want to get involved with that, the real Jimmy G on Twitter. So the thing about this is, this brings to mind that movie or trailer that was made about the Gray State. Are you familiar with the Gray State trailer, Steve? It was gonna
no,
be.
sir.
Are you kidding me? It's the most terrifying 3 minutes you'll ever see. This dude was an Iraq veteran who came back, started listening to Alex Jones, and decided he was going to make a movie called Gray State. And so what he did was he did a GoFundMe, and he made a trailer. Okay, the movie never got made. He got a bunch of donations to make the movie, but what happened was he killed his wife and his daughter and himself before the movie ever got made. And, you know, he did it as an exclamation point. I'm 100% sure, because I investigated what happened. I investigated him in Iraq. You know, I investigated a lot about his personality. He was the type of person, like I talked about earlier. He was a veteran that could just kill somebody, you know, like that. And he wrote Allah Akbar on the wall in his wife's blood. You can watch a documentary about the making of of Gray State and what happened, and they leave you thinking that there's some nefarious, that he was killed because he was trying to get the word out, kind of idea. Because, but that I don't believe is the fact of the matter. You can watch the documentary and decide for yourself. I mean, I happen to be an empath, and you know, so when I was watching him on video, I could see into him. I could see his body language, and you know, just the basic description of what he went through in Iraq, where he got released, and to come home, and he met somebody. He fell in love. He was listening to Alex Jones shows. I mean, there's video of him listening to it while he's, you know, it's on in the room while they're shooting video. He got activated by Alex Jones, started looking into stuff, and then he got reactivated and sent back to Iraq. Right after he met somebody that he loved. So you could see, if you were in Iraq doing police action and you had to go around and knock on doors and get people to show you their IDs, I mean, you were pretty pissed off, and take it out on those people. You know what I mean? And that happened a lot over there, man. You know, and you could see it. You could see he was clearly disturbed about having to go back. So I don't think for a second he would just, you know, once you've looked a man in the eye and killed him, you know, being able to kill another person, you know, becomes easier after you've done it a few times. And so this whole thing of being radicalized and these veterans being radicalized, like we were talking about before, is this thing that happens, you know. But anyway, if you go look at this trailer, there's this particular thing going on where people are getting these implants. The grocery stores are empty. You have to put this implant under a device when you go to the grocery store to pay. There's FEMA camps and there's executions going on. There's an executioner that's wearing a white plastic mask over his face, and he's got this apron on, and for a second it flashes this apron, and you can see it's a Masonic apron covered in blood, and they're literally chopping people's heads off, and they're blowing people's heads off in the streets. This trailer, I'm telling you, it should be rated X. It's that violent. And there's people protesting, and they're throwing them down on the ground and making them get on all fours and blowing their fucking brains out in the street. So this is supposedly what this dude was putting forward as what was going to happen. This is what he believed was going to happen, the future that we were all looking at. And now here we have New York, state of New York, are putting this camp together, and we seem like we're on the precipice of these trains with the shackles and the I mean, how many guillotines were ordered? I think there was a bunch of new guillotines ordered. Everybody was passing that around on the boards. Look at, they're ordering guillotines.
They say it's 30,000. I'm thinking about doing a FOIA on that.
Yeah, you should. You definitely should. What do you think about this, Steve?
Well, I'm watching the trailer right now. But I mean,
It's intense, man. I mean, it's an intense idea. Look at it. It's like that's what everyone is saying is going to happen.
Hmm.
That is
I
what.
don't. I. You know what I think? I think that we have been seeing so much permissible criticism of Israel lately during their latest, round of ethnic cleansing and genociding. Um, to the point to where on MSNBC and CNN and even Fox, Jimmy, there were people who were speaking on behalf of Palestinians. It's absolutely nuts. And I think it's because we're going to get that fake alien invasion. That's what I think. I think
Can
we're
you say
getting them aliens.
enter Project Blue, oh, what is it?
Blue
Bluebeam.
beam. Yeah.
Thank you. I lost it. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Well, the
yeah.
thing about
We're going to get the Antichrist. He's going to be named the head of the new global governance and keep us safe from dim aliens.
Yeah.
Is what all the disclosure shit is about.
well,
Them
I mean,
darn buggers.
there's an operation right now piggybacking on the Q operation, and that is this whole disclosure shit that's going on right now. There's a flood of disclosure going on right now. I mean, it's on MSNBC. You got what's his nuts, Tucker, this guy Tucker Carlson, and there's video of this guy back in the day. That if anybody watched it, there's no way they would ever watch that guy again with what he says about the people that he's talking to. So you should go back and look at that because he's from an elitist family. He doesn't give a shit about you. And the only reason he's saying what he's saying now is because he got juice from it during the election and they saw that he got some ratings. So don't be fooled by Tucker Carlson. Go back and look at Tucker Carlson like 20 years ago. See what he was saying.
We are gonna get just enough of them aliens to where we need the one world government and we need to throw all of our money and resources and energy
And
into
rights.
developing the technology that is going to prevent them aliens from ever getting to our sacred buttholes ever again.
Well, here's the thing.
And it's only going to cost us our rights and to the total surveillance of the human organism. Well, and all organisms for that matter. I mean, Jesus, that global health security report where they're talking about drone surveillance of crops, agriculture, so that they
And
can.
barcoding everything and
Yeah.
tracking every single thing.
Well, yeah. I mean, how else can you commodify everything, including what's left of nature, if you don't have a way to track it and trace it and analyze it, break it down into data points, and then sell it to somebody?
Well, let me ask you this, man. Because, listen, if you weren't wearing a mask, if you were an anti masker, you were facially recognized throughout the whole year. Last year, you're already on a list. You're already on the refusenick list. Because
right.
that's the demographic. The anti masker is the demographic that is the refusenick on the vaccination or the Michelle Pfeiffer. So if you refuse Michelle Pfeiffer and you don't wear a mask, are you going to end up in a camp up there in New York? I think if you can't prove to me that you've been vaccinated, Steve, you're going to have to go to that camp in New York if they pass that bill. You think calling your senator might do something over there, ladies and gentlemen, like we were talking about a minute ago? Or you want to sit there?
You can give it a shot, but this is
No pun intended, right?
national security issue. This is beyond your senator.
Hey, it's one in the arm or one in your head. Either let me save your life or I'll kill you. Okay, if you don't let me save your life, I'm going to kill you, Steve. God damn it. Hey, listen, your show is starting this weekend here on the alternative to the alternative, the underground. And what a better place to have a hard-hitting brother like yourself on the weekend because I don't have anything to do on Sundays at 10 o'clock Pacific. And I've been looking for something to listen to. I've been wandering the dial, hacking my way through the jungle. There's nothing but bullshit and lies. Now, here, boom, here you're going to be coming on board with Aftermath staff. I got a place to chill on Sundays, 10 o'clock Pacific, right here. So, man,
100%.
I'm stoked on it. So, thanks for being here tonight again. I mean, we're having a great discussion, and so what do you think about this now, Steve? Do you think they'll have video at the camps? I mean, I'm just wondering, will there be 5G?
Here's what I know. No matter what dissident camp I wind up in, we're going to make it the absolutely most lit dissident camp in the entire concentration complex. And I would expect no less than Hogan's Heroes like
I was gonna say, yeah.
I would plan on that. I would.
Love
Also, if you guys know any good tattoo artists, make sure that we're in the camp together because I want something other than the one they're going to give us when we come in.
Yeah.
You know, I would like to think that we could all get like different matching tattoos while we're at the dissident camp. If anyone knows how to fashion guitar strings out of catgut, holla at your boy.
Well, I'll tell you what, I'm going to be Steve McQueen on a 48 shovelhead jumping the fence on my 48 shovelhead. What about Cool Hand Luke?
I was going to say Paul Newman, yeah.
Cool Hand Luke, or, Papillon is another good one. That's a great book to read if you ever got some time. Spend some time reading that.
I'll be the lady that screams so loud and high the glass will break, and I'll set us free.
Well, hopefully it won't be the Hunger Games here in a few minutes. So, ladies and gentlemen, I mean, we don't sell food here. We don't sell, supplies. We're not telling you this to make you buy supplies, And if I had supplies that I knew about that I could sell you, I would. So check out. I think it's preparewithgroundzero.com, and Clyde's got a deal with somebody where you can get a deal and save a little bit of money. And I think Clyde gets a chunk of that, which is good. So you help support the big man, keep him going, and as long as he's running hard, then we get to hang here after hours and give him a hand, man. I mean, I'm telling you, I'm not bullshitting you, man. I am preparing at my house. Okay,
Mhm.
I'm buying extra shit every time I go to the store. I'm making sure I got yeast. I'm learning how to make bread. I'm getting sick and tired of paying $5 for a loaf of bread, man.
Yep.
And if I don't gobble it up, it goes bad. They don't put the preservatives in there like they used to. I used to get a loaf of Wonder Bread. That shit would last for like a year. There'd be no mold on it.
Oh,
I'm just kidding. But Wonder Bread bologna and American cheese. I mean, that was the standard diet of the single mom son.
and Kool-Aid.
When I was
Red
growing.
Barely even needed a refrigerator for any of that stuff.
There you go. We were talking about government cheese farts last night.
Yes.
They used to give you. They didn't give you food stamps. They used to go down and have to get a box of what was called commodities. And it was funny because Trump had brought that up. He was going to cut off the food stamps and start giving people boxes of commodities, man. And I had to laugh because I remember back in the day that, you get this big brick of cheese wrapped in this weird tinfoil and it just said government cheese on the side of it.
So
shout out to Tommy Womack and his band Government Cheese.
We used to get deliveries of a lot of different government foods for the cafeteria at the schools that I used to administrate. And let me tell you what, you don't want to be in the room during nap time after those kids have had that cheese for lunch. No. It's not pleasant.
No, it's disgusting. Seriously, it's like the gas chambers, for sure. You don't want to
Don't
be.
light a match.
You don't. Yes, you don't want to go back to the commodities, ladies and gentlemen. That's commodities will come with your universal income, because you won't be able to afford the shit you used to be able to buy, because food's going to be priced out of your realm. Especially. I mean, listen, these things are all adding up. Okay, what
Yeah.
happened? Okay, the supply chain is fucked up. China stuff coming from China. Go look at Long Beach. Look at how many ships are sitting there waiting to come on on board, and what happens with retail is with the way retail is ordered, they go by what they sold last month. So what you sold last month is your budget for what you could buy next month. Didn't sell that much last month because there was a bunch of stuff missing. So they only have less money this month to buy stuff, and they can only buy to replace what's missing now. They can't buy anything extra. So they're trying to refill their stock, and this thing is spiraling downward because they keep ordering stuff, and now the stuff's coming, now the stuff's missing, but now the ships are all stacked up at Long Beach. Stuff's not coming off. They're paying people 1.5 times the amount for their vegetables. That's getting taken away. The packing plants are closed. The boxes aren't coming in from China. Walmart's not getting filled up. Shelves are empty. Go into your retail store and look at how many big items are on the shelf taking up space, because
There's another trick. There's another trick, and that is to keep the stores in the cities, as full as they can with what they have, and not do so much in the urban areas. Because the people in the urban areas are a little more used to living like that, because they have, farms and
You
country
mean
and stuff like
rural?
that.
You mean
But
rural areas? The urban areas where the cities is? You mean rural?
I'm sorry. Yeah. Yes. Rural. Yes. Thank you. Yeah. So
Yeah, you're 100%
keep
right.
the good stuff out in the cities.
And the thing is, those people in the rural areas, they can also grow their own food. And so if they're not already doing that, they should be thinking about it, because at any minute these stores can blink out, man. Just like we were talking about last week, Steve. You can go to the ATM and it doesn't work. You have to says, please come and please go to the bank. Well, this bank's closed. You get the nearest one that you can go to is 50 miles away. That's the only one that's open. Every other ATM you go to within that 50-mile radius is going to say, please go to the bank. The only one you can go to is that one. What happens when you get there? There's fucking people standing in line. They've been standing in line all day. They're trying to get inside. You know what I mean? That's what happens, man. If you're dependent on one single source of distribution in your area for supplies, and that store's not open someday, what's going to happen? It's just like, what's going to happen when you go to wake up in the morning and reach for your phone and look at it and there's no service. You go turn on your computer and there's no internet. And you sat around thinking about buying that radio, but you never did. So now you got no way to hear anything. I mean, you try to go out on your car, but you're really not getting any reception. I mean, seriously, these stupid little items that have been floating around the conspiracy world for all these years about having yourself a radio, a two-way radio, having yourself some supplies, this and that. Never been a more.
There's nothing conspiracy. You're fucking best Boy Scout shit, Jimmy. Come on.
The thing is there's been so many false alarms. There's been so many people have gotten to the point where they don't listen to it anymore, and they don't prepare anymore, and they don't want to do it. It's just a big hassle. They've done it so many times and ended up eating that food. You know what I mean? How many times have people gone down and bought a bunch of shit, canned foods and all this stuff you wouldn't normally even eat, but you buy it because it's cheap and you want to survive, and then at some point, you run out of money and you got to eat that food. You know what I mean? So the food always comes in handy, but then you got to buy it again. You know what I mean? And then people get sick of it. You know what, man? This meteor is not going to strike. I'm just this time I'm just going to pass on buying this storable shit. But ladies and gentlemen, this is different this time. This is not some conspiracy theory about an end of the world scenario. You can see the slow grind to a halt on this production across the world on these consumables. And your ability to afford these consumables is getting less and less, which you're going to be able to afford. The shit we can buy, it's all going to be genetically modified. Organic shit will be priced out of our realm. That's what I'm thinking. Anyways, go ahead, Steve. I see you there.
Well, no, I mean, it's true. Not only that video that you were talking about, but there's Argentina's grain exports got halted. Um, let's see what else. There's all kinds of shit, man. Indian farmers unable to sell their crops during lockdown. They're going to rot the fallow in the field,
Oh my
as it
God.
were. Um,
This is just
let's
get.
see. Let's see. Conditions in South America are so dry, barges are unable to float full loads on the river to export grains. Um, Argentinian farm groups will halt trading of livestock in protest against a 30-day government ban on beef exports aimed at bringing down domestic prices. So that's going to affect more. Um,
Let me shout out the
let's
chat here real quick, Steve, while you run through some of that stuff. So let me see what I got over here. I got Big James is there. What's up, Big James? Braids, BRX, Bug Whacker. Hey, Chadrick's over there. Chris from the UK. Hey, what's up, Clyde? Great show tonight. DB12 is over there.
Hey, Clyde.
Yeah, hey, Clyde. Say hi to Clyde, Steve. Say hi to Clyde, Brandy.
Hey, Clyde.
Okay, Ice Cream Man's over there. I can't read that, man. It's like an eye test for me. I'm so far away from the screen. All right, Ice Cream Man's over there. Of course, who's that? Infected News, Jump Freak, Massacre Moody, Michael 13. What's up, Michael 13? Is like he's tapped into me. Yesterday, we were doing something. Brent and Danny was talking about black holes. I was about to play Black Hole Sun. Michael 13's all Black Hole Sun. Like the minute I thought of it, he said it in the chat. Moose Girl, what's going on? Good to see you. Repo's in there. And something, I can't read that. It's too many M's. So I'm not going to do it justice. Anyway, let me see who else is in there. Yeah, I can't do it. Brenda, you want to go over there and shout these guys out? I'm just failing the eye test. I got the wrong glasses on.
I actually can't access it right now. The computer I was using died, and it will mess up my Skype. Unfortunately, I would love to do that if I could.
All right, Skank Hunt's in there.
Yeah.
Sweeney's over there. T-Bowed, Thick YG20. What's up, Thick YG20? Yazman's over there. You want to shout out your chat, Steve?
Oh, certainly.
Go ahead.
Big shout out to Hunter, and thank you very much for the tip. And we got Bart, and who else? Uma. Who else? Drop it. We have more people watching than in the chat.
Yeah, well, there's a lot.
We got freaking. Come on, Rockfit.
Lots of people are
Get chatty.
Lots of people.
Motherfuckers.
They're in.
Oh, and by the way, you guys, Rockfin has an Android app right now, and it is, in fact, in my opinion, superior to the one that is out on the iPhone. There's going to be an update coming to that, but one of the things that was holding a lot of people back from going and getting simply a free account on the Rockfin was the lack of Android app. I have it. It works fantastic. And you can like have it play in the background. Like it's dope, dude.
Kick ass. Well, listen.
RFN.
Did you get done shooting out your chat? Cause I got to shoot out my YouTube chat, and Patricia's over there. Do you want to
do that one if you need?
Go ahead, do it.
I've got Moose Girl. We've got Ginger Sugarbush, and I know Lizzie was in there. Robin is in there, and Droney was in there, and John Nelson, and Patricia Croft, and there's some more, but it's not showing anymore. So hello, all of you out there.
Yeah. So there it is. The chats have now been shouted out. The business is done. Ladies and gentlemen, what haven't we talked about so far tonight? We've talked about a lot of stuff, and man, sometimes you just gotta say what the fuck, don't you? Don't you, Steve? Sometimes you just gotta say what the fuck.
It's true. Frequently.
I know.
Frequently.
Come on. Come on, bird. Where'd you go?
Oh no, the bird's sleeping, man. I gave
Oh,
him some scotch, and he seems to be, sleeping now. So we're good.
well, good, because he nearly put my eye out last time with those seeds. So I'm glad you did that, Jimmy.
Yeah, I'm getting sick of my ear. I have a problem with my headphone cable, and it keeps bopping in and out on one side, and it's super annoying, especially since I'm about to take a 420 break, and
There he goes.
nah, where I go, Brandy. Did you say
Huh?
something? Did
No,
you?
I said there he
There,
goes
who goes?
on the 420 break.
Oh, yeah, no, I'm not on the 420 break yet, but I'm getting there. I'm getting there. But anyways, it's into the microcosm aftermath.fm. Brandy's here, and Steve from Slow News Days here, and Steve's becoming a partner here at the station and becoming a part of the aftermath staff. So that's fantastic, Steve. We only got about 20 minutes left of the show.
I agree. And we do, and I do have a feel good story.
Nice.
Nice.
That just really showcases um what hard work, dedication, and focus can get the FBI when they really put their minds to it.
Imagine that.
We'll let her rip, man. I'm all ears, so to speak.
This is absolutely ridiculous, man. So a 21-year-old named Khalil Rayan lived Dearborn, Michigan. Was a pizza delivery driver. Wanted to meet a girl, strict Muslim parents. Um, so he got home from work, started watching ISIS videos like 7 years ago. Um, so started, kind of like getting into that, working out. Um, they pulled dude over 2015. Found a gun on him, a little bit of herb. Uh, and then he goes and he tries to get a rifle, right? Um, or sorry, rented. Took a couple of pictures, posted them, and then he gets catfished. All right,
Uh huh.
he gets catfished. Uh, he's threatening to kill himself. Um, and so the chick that he's pouring his heart and soul out to, and trying to, you know, the chick that ostensibly is trying to talk him out of committing suicide instead
Hmm.
talks him into becoming a martyr. Don't just off yourself for the cause.
Hmm.
Go ahead and take some people with you. Now, mind you, this is an FBI agent,
Okay.
right?
Right.
So,
The catfisher is
yes,
okay.
yes. This is someone who had been pulled over after they had already searched through his social media, had found out that he had been, posting, let's say, ISIS-friendly things on the internet. He was arrested with a gun. He was arrested with some weed in, again, Dearborn, Michigan. And this is a Muslim kid. He'd already been in trouble with the cops before. Uh, so I mean, all of this is, um, leading up to him apparently being, targeted, catfished, honeypotted. Uh, and then turned into potential martyr. Um, so
Sounds like the original Trade Center bombings where the FBI cooked the bombs and made the bombs and set the whole thing up, or the Christmas tree bombing up in Oregon, where it seems like all these things are always set up and antagonized via the behavior modification complex. When the red light goes off, that you happen to be somebody in one of these moods that you're ready to do something, it's you're easily tagged and bagged by these organizations, and they start tweaking you through social media and the behavior modification complex. They start hitting you with subsonic and ultrasonic harassment on your phone. They start causing you to get in arguments with your wife when you're on a phone call. They start having you get weird with your boss, getting cocky. They start having all these things happen to you, and the next thing you know, one thing leads to another. You're red flagged, and now you're in the bag, Jack, and you're going to go downtown after you do your deed. So what's the feel-good aspect of this story? Did the guy, what happened? Did anybody get arrested?
Oh yeah, the dude got arrested. The dude got more time than he would have for just the simple gun possession. So federal agents arrested him for possession of a firearm by an unlawful user of a controlled substance. Rayon didn't have a new pistol. He didn't have any guns. The firearm in question was a revolver the Detroit police had confiscated months earlier during the traffic stop. So Jinnah, the woman who encouraged Rayon to kill innocent people for Allah, was an undercover FBI employee. Rayon's first love, Yada, that's why he was going to commit suicide, is because the first catfish broke up with him, was also a fictitious persona. In a court filing, prosecutors declined to reveal what agency or department may or may not have employed the individual who pretended to be Gada. So they engineered the thing to bust him for ISIS support. They spent almost a year investigating him, and it turns out that the thing that they were really trying to hit him for, the Detroit police had already arrested him for. They let's see, could have been prosecuted for making a true threat. He confessed that he wanted to shoot up a church to this undercover FBI agent, and that he wanted to shoot the cop that pulled him over and busted him with the gun the first time. Ultimately indicted solely for 2 gun offenses: firearm possession by a drug user and lying about his drug use to buy a pistol. And he got 5 years for that.
Lying about using drugs when buying a firearm is a punishable offense. Apparently,
because and it's the FBI's own fault.
I'm just saying. I'm just saying. Isn't it your right not to incriminate yourself? So the thing is like, if they ask you a direct question, you can't take the fifth because you have to answer the question to get the firearm, don't you? So who in their right mind is going to incriminate themselves on a government document who's applying for a firearm? They don't want to do anything that's going to stop them from getting their firearm, do they?
Well, apparently Hunter Biden did.
Apparently.
He lied, but he's still running around free. He's not in for 5 years.
Yeah, well, the thing is, the thing is, if you're a Muslim on a jihad and, you get thrown in prison for 5 years because we just got to take you away. Make sure you don't do anything. Yeah, keep you off.
They're already making pre-crime arrests, so might as well.
Yeah. Well, my shit just froze up, so hopefully we're still going. I don't know what happened, but my whole computer's froze up. Do you guys still hear me?
I hear you.
I still hear you.
Yeah, no, my whole computer's froze up. Every window, I can't click anything. My mouse is completely gone.
Interesting.
There, now it's back.
Okay. He's back.
That's trippy though, man. When that's been happening a bit, where my computer completely freezes and there's nothing there. So I think it's because I got too much video going on YouTube, and with doing the broadcast through this through this audio propagation software. My name's Jimmy. It's in the microcosm. Sitting here with Steve and Brandy, and we are getting ready to head out here in a few minutes. If you want to give us calls, 831. It's
Careful.
626-999-4761. 626-999-4761. I almost gave you guys my cell phone number.
Yes.
626-999-4761. This number actually goes to my cell phone through Skype. 626-999-4761. Give us a call. My name's Jimmy. It's jimmyg27@gmail.com. The real Jimmy Gene on Twitter. We just started the Twitter thing, so we don't have anybody over there. So, but Bella is taking care of putting out the tweets when we're all going live and whatnot. Because, like for example, today I was over on Kev Baker doing a show with him, which I do every Wednesday. So stuff like this, if you want to hear what, because I do stuff over there that I don't do here. So, it's all different, man. I mean, it kind of ties in, though. We did talk a little bit about some of the things we talk about here, over there, what we were talking about. But anyway, interesting discussions always with Kev Baker. Much love to him. And so anyways, that's what's happening. That's how you can find out what's going on with us. Brandy, did you have anything you wanted to say? I mean, did you want to send out a call for email? Because I know you're booking guests for the Monday show over on Revolution Radio at 3:00. So
Yes.
did you want to give out your email address so people can get a hold of you if they want to be a guest on the show on Mondays?
That would be great.
Yeah, go
You
ahead.
can reach me at Brandy Voice of Reason at AOL.com. Brandy Voice of Reason at AOL.com. Yes, I still use AOL. I love the platform of the email.
Does it,
And
does it still
Also, we're
does it still
hopefully-
say you've got mail?
I have no idea. I always mute it.
That's hilarious.
I know. But we're going to be hopefully looking into some of these problems with the food supply and hopefully be talking about, get some guests that can come on and talk about things that you can really do to get prepared.
Well, I would
At least as well as possible.
I would suggest you get a hold of Kurt from Armchair Survivalist, survivalistenterprises.com. This dude's been around for a long time. He's still got a he's still got a radio show. But I'm gonna tell you right now, ladies and gentlemen, if you want to buy like oregano oil or any of this kind of shit, go to survivalenterprises.com and see what Kurt has over there. The dude has industrial. I mean, literally, his oregano oil, dude, will take the fucking paint off a car. I swear to God. I mean, you No, you want to have a bottle of oregano oil from Survival Enterprises, man. Go over there and check out what he's got. Besides, he has other stuff too. Like he does have, items you can use for storable foods and these type of things. But I mean, as far as his herbal remedies, the dude is. I mean, we definitely got to get him on, man. He really, I swear to God, he's done so many things. He's got so much to say about so many different things. But the Armchair Survivalist, Kurt, I'm trying to remember his last name. I can't remember it. But anyway, the Armchair Survivalist Enterprises. And also, if you need storable food and you get to buy some, get it from Claude, man. Because Claude's got a thing worked out where he's going to get a few bucks if you buy it. If you're going to buy it anyway, buy it from Clyde. Just get it from, I forget what it's called. I think it's Prepare with Ground Zero, I think is what it is. Prepare with Ground Zero. That helps out Clyde, man. That puts a few bucks in his pocket, lets him go out to dinner or whatever.
So if they go on the Aftermath website, is it listed there? Can they find it there?
There's no advertising on Aftermath, and I'm actually doing this. I'm saying it not because I'm advertising, but because I'm talking about it. And I know that if you want to buy some, it'll benefit somebody that is here at the station. So why not do it? If you're going to do it, do it. And, anybody wants to say I'm talking about this shit to get you to buy storable food can kiss my ass. You're a fucking chump if that's what you think. We're up here telling you what's going to happen. 8 months from now, food is going to be twice as much, man. You're paying $6.
I mean, look at what happened with the pandemic. There's no reason to even argue this. This fake pandemic that came up, you couldn't even get dang toilet paper. So it's just look at what's already happened.
Yeah.
It's not over.
I mean, they had panic buying over the colonial hack, and it shut down anywhere from like 7 to 17% of the gas stations all up and down the eastern seaboard. There were supply chain interruptions in Texas simultaneously. Coincidentally, they discovered a crack in the bridge going out from Memphis across the Mississippi River that shut down river traffic for like almost 72 hours.
What's that song? All my exes live in Texas. That's why I lives in Tennessee.
Hmm. Yeah.
Texas could be a state all unto itself, man. And I think, there's a lot of people talking about the balkanization of America and the breakup of what we consider to be our United States into a more cohesive North American Union that allows immigration to rebuild the infrastructure at a $7 trillion level. You're going to need workers. They're going to have to come from somewhere, ladies and gentlemen. Unless you're planning on going out there and digging ditches, better figure out how to get people in here and immigrate from South America that want to come up here and work. Because if you don't, what's going to happen is these corporate Chinese construction teams are going to come in here, and then not only will China own land, then they'll have actual troops in our country building shit. Think about it. It's not, it's not beyond the realm. I mean, students over here have relatives back in China. If the student gets a phone call and is told to do something, they don't do it, their relative's going to get the old, you know what I'm saying? So listen, everybody who's Chinese is beholden to the Chinese government at any moment. So just think about hundreds of thousands of Chinese construction workers coming in here. You think you want that here? I think you better start figuring out how to let people in from the South. Give them a cell phone, you know what I mean? Charge them $1,000.
I think that could be worked up into a wonderful Alex Jones style bit.
I'm sure it will be. He listens to the show.
Can I see that vein in your neck, Jimmy? Is it as good as his?
If I wanted it to be, it could. But I'll just tell you, listen, I'm not going to get all bent out of shape about it. I'm just, here it is. I mean, like we said, look, I've been in telecom my whole life, my whole adult life. I've worked in basically telecom emergency situations. In telecom, everything's an emergency. Everything. So at the point where everything becomes an emergency, something has to be critical before you get upset. So I'm constantly in emergency mode. I'm not, I'm not putting out any chemicals in my body because I'm scared or I'm fluxed by emergency. So I'm just telling you what's happening. I mean, you can make your own decision what to do. Anybody who wants to take a look at the landscape, should take a look. But just like we were talking about earlier, everybody discounted everything that was being said on the left about Donald Trump and the Russians and all this shit. But the bottom line is you should have listened to some of that because it wasn't all propaganda. There was some truth to that. Not enough there to get him impeached or any of that, but there was a lot of truth in some of what was going on there. And so by cutting yourself off, by thinking it was just liberal propaganda, you cut yourself off to some valuable information that could have helped you make an intelligent decision about who you were actually supporting, instead of the guy that's up in the tent yelling about there's a sucker born every minute.
Well, I mean, still to this day, we've got a missing whistleblower who provided the documents on Deutsche Bank and their relationship with some incredibly shady oligarchs, and also handling an account for one Donald Tunahan's Trump.
Well, I'll tell you this, man. When Trump was threatening to overthrow this election result with forensic evidence saying that there had been tampering, Deutsche Bank was about to foreclose on Mar-a-Lago. They said, "Where's my money? I want my $430 million right now."
Whoa.
Yeah, well, Trump laid down, man. Trump
Where's
laid
that?
down. Hey, yeah, he told you to go up to the Capitol. I say, hey, I'll meet you up at the Capitol, man.
Where's that where's that
What?
story?
Oh, the Deutsche Bank?
Yeah.
Just type it in. Just look for it. I don't have it on hand. I mean, this happened months ago. You can definitely look at it, man. When the whole election thing was going on, look at it. Deutsche Bank owns Mar-a-Lago. He's in Deutsche Bank for the Mar-a-Lago. Period. But You can look it up. Hey, we're almost out of time. My name's Jimmy. It's in the Microcosm. We're here every night, Monday through Friday, 10:30 Pacific. We're following Clyde Lewis and the Ground Zero gang, and we really appreciate you guys being here, sticking around. The chat room is still totally full. I don't have the right glasses on, otherwise I'd shout you guys out one more time. But just stick around. Come on back tomorrow night. Danny will be here. She'll be able to yell you guys out. Brandy's going to be on the Monday show following, and we'll be back with Rio, Epic Journeyman, and Danny and myself tomorrow night with the Rainbow Show. We're going to do a show about the rainbow, man. Feel the rainbow. All right, Steve, thanks a million. Brandy, thank you so much. It's time
Jimmy.
My pleasure.
Time for us to head on out of here. We'll see you tomorrow night. Stay tuned for something great, and do yourself a favor. Get yourself something to eat, because 8 months from now, bread costs $12, and you're only getting whatever you're getting. Your inflationary dollars are not going to buy much food at the store. Store it up while you can, ladies and gentlemen. Look out, man. This ain't a Chicken Little situation this time. This is real. You know, save yourself. No one's going to save you.
That's right.
It's Aftermath FM. My name's Jimmy. Clear from the radio station. Give me 1 second here. There we go. There we go, man. We're all done, son. Thank you, Steve. That was a good show, man.
Yeah, man. Thank you.
Yeah, we rattled, man, throughout that whole show, Brandy. And we were just going all over the place. So we definitely had a great show. There's a lot of shit. What's up, Cab? Let me see, man. I got to hit Cab up over in the chat here. Hang on to Cab. I got to make you a moderator. Hold on. So there you go. I hope you guys don't mind, but I really need to get GTFO tonight. I'm super tired, man. I did a show earlier today, and I'm just burnt. So let me just chill, and I'll see you guys tomorrow. Thanks, Steve. Thanks, Brandy. And
oh yeah, man. Thank you.
Yeah. So I'll hit you.
Nice to see you, Steve.
Yeah, I'll give you.
You too.
Yeah, I'll give you a shot, Steve, tomorrow on send you a text or whatever once I get up and get rolling.
Hell yeah.
All right, cool. All right, Cab, thanks a million. See you later, Drone. See you, Spencer. Spy Moose Girl. Let me see. John's over there still. Who else is over there? Bye, everybody over on Rockfin, if you're still there. I'll see you guys around, eh? So here we go. We'll just head on out of here.
Night all.
Good night. Here, I'll find
Take care,
some.
y'all.
See ya.
Woe to you, O earth and sea. understanding reckon the number of the beast, for it is a human number. Its number is 666.
White people aren't evil either, because I know we're evil. I got that evil in me. I do. That's why I can feel it. That's why I try to suppress it. I try to dress casual, you know what I mean? I'm serious, man. I tried a suit on the other day. I felt it coming up. Like, fuck, man, I want to take over some shit, right? I want to start telling people what to do. I want to go pollute a lake, blame it on my secretary, you know?
Little Red Riding Hood. Hey there, Little Red Riding Hood. You sure are looking good. I'm gonna keep my sheet suit on till I'm sure that you've been shown that I can be trusted walking with you alone. Oh, Little Red Riding Hood. I'd like to hold you if I could, but you might think I'm a big bad wolf, so I won't. Oh!
Yeah. You keep lying when you ought to be truthing, and you keep losing when you ought to not bet. You keep saying when you ought to be a-changing. Now what's right is right, but you ain't been right yet. These boots are made for walking, and that's just what they'll do. One of these days these boots are gonna walk all over you.
All the leaves are brown.